Good Tuesday morning, guys. Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk here on the I Love CVille Network, the Snowmageddon version of Real Talk on the first Tuesday in 2022. Wherever you are, we hope you are staying warm, safe, and bundled up. Today's show should be appreciated. We will utilize the platform as an all eyes, hands, ears on deck platform to relay some perspective we all have seen from various positions here in Central Virginia where we call home. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Why don't we go to the 3-shot J-Dubs first, and if you set up the 4-shot, maybe we'll get you on camera for the folks to hear what you had to go through to get into work today. His was crazy. Keith Smith and Quinton Beckham now on the program. Gentlemen, good morning. ¿Qué pasa, chicos?
¿Qué pasa, amigo?
Good morning.
What's a good word?
You know, we're here, right? We're here. We're in front of cameras, and we're doing our thing, which we love doing this. But like you said on the onset, we need to be thoughtful for the folks that don't have power. Check on them, particularly the folks that are senior citizens or a little bit older than that. My parents are on day number 2 without power out at Lake Monticello, so half of the lake has power, half doesn't. Actually, yesterday and today we're supposed to have Maggie Gunnels and Christy Beck on, but they still don't have power.
They live at the lake.
They live at the lake, yeah. And we were going to talk about Lake Monticello and new construction. So I don't really want to get too much into that. We can touch base with a little bit going on. I really want them to come in and talk about that. But, folks, if you got folks out there that are shut-ins, please check on them. I know you're doing it. Invite them over. I invited my parents over to the house. They said no. I don't know why, but in any event, please check on folks.
We have Keaton, Quinton. We'll get to you here in a matter of moments. Stephanie Wells Rhodes of the fabulous Intrastate Service Company family, ISC. Intrastate Service Company is ISC is watching right now. And she said my in-laws did the same thing, would not leave their house.
I don't understand it.
I mean, you can appreciate the mentality.
I get it.
It's their home.
I get it. I understand it. I'm probably the same stubborn.
Really? I am shocked.
I was trying to set you up, man.
Oh my gosh. I haven't had enough coffee for such revelations.
Good morning, QB. How are you, friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm just going to sit here and pout.
How did you survive yesterday? Why don't we start with that topic? How did you guys survive yesterday?
For us, it was relatively calm. Our neighborhood sticks together really well. The power flickered but stayed on. Thank goodness my neighbor across the street, Aaron, helped me dig out the driveway, and everybody just sort of pulled together and made it well. I did take one trip where I played co-pilot and cheerleader for my friend Mark. He went to a friend's house whose tree had covered the garage. Older couple, we cut it up, we moved the tree around, we talked to them, and the husband had rented a hotel room, and the wife said, no, we're staying at home.
Yeah, it's on the way in.
We have a propane fireplace,
yeah,
and a home that we own, and I want to be here when the power comes back on.
Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I invited them, but it's the same thing. They have a fireplace, they have a gas stove and a gas grill, which they were cooking coffee and tea, boiling, and they were happy, and I said, okay. I mean, all I'm asking you to do is do the wash. That's all. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Justine Montgomery.
Hey, Justine.
Vermont.
Watching
in Vermont.
This is commonplace for them, but a foot of snow here is quite a bit of snow for us.
So, Justine, if you're tuning in, we got hit hard. Was it a foot?
A foot at my house.
Was it a foot? Okay, how about you at yours? Was it?
We clocked it at 9 inches.
9 inches, okay. And it came hard, and it came quickly.
And heavy.
And some ice and sleet in there to make it worse. Mm-hmm. How about, put in perspective, your drive yesterday trying to get into town?
I was trying to get into town to do Real Talk on Monday and simply couldn't make it in. So as I was coming in on Route 53, there was literally, you could just see trees falling in front of you, in the back of you, and I just figured out a way to turn around and get the heck out. You can literally just see trees falling on top of cars and stuff like that. It was pretty rough.
Quinton, some of your friends watching, we'll acknowledge them in a matter of moments. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Good morning. You, QB, downtown Charlottesville, what did you witness? I was in yesterday at work. I noticed the Market Street Market grocery store was open.
Yeah, they some of their staff actually arrived before the snow started, like at 4 in the morning.
Wow.
Pie
Chest. Yeah.
one other, and they just stayed on and stayed open. And when I used to live downtown, that was our favorite store to walk to because you could walk back and forth, get a bag full of groceries, carry it home. And they were sort of a lifeline for a lot of folks that just needed a snack for the day, a cup of coffee, something to warm them up where power was out or fluctuating. And cheers to them, because that's a lot of work.
Nikki Chambliss says, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, friend.
Good morning,
Nikki
Nikki.
Chambliss. Your favorite things to do in a snow apocalypse?
Read a book.
Read a book. You're a book reader.
Open all of the windows so that you can watch the snow and read a book.
Open the windows.
You know, blinds, that sort of
gotcha.
thing. I want to see all the snow.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was born and raised in California, and so snow still kind of fascinates me, and I'm still kind of in love with it. I know it wreaks havoc. On my short trip yesterday with my friend down 250, there were so many trees pulling down power lines. I'm sure there's lots of unsightly and unkind things going on. On the other hand, for me, it was just fascinating to watch the snowfall, particularly when they had said, Saturday, I think I was in short sleeves and I was hot because it was 60 some odd degrees. Sunday, they're saying 1 to 3 inches, and we got close to a foot of snow in many places, and it was wet and it was heavy. And so I know it caused a lot of problems, and listening to the tree branches break.
That is scary. When I was on 53, that is scary. You can hear them coming down, and those things will.
Yeah, so you drove in yesterday in the middle of this, and you're calling your parents stubborn?
He has 4-wheel drive pickup, right?
I think he's referring to something else.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
A little stubborn. Jerry was trying to make it in. I wanted to give it 110% effort to come in and do the show, but it got to the point it was a bit unsafe.
I will say this.
I'm looking over at a bar that actually has liquid in the bottle, so I figured you guys had done some prep for the snowpocalypse.
Got some new gifts.
Figured
been a good year.
If you got stuck in the studio, you'd have things to drink. You have a game called Relative Insanity to play.
We do.
Seemed like you were all set.
We got a deck of cards. I was fortunate to get in here about, midday yesterday. Why don't we give a little update for everybody that's watching? And J-Dubs, I would love for folks to hear your story of what you had to do to get to work today.
Did you have to cut your way in?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear what this man had to go through. So if you set up the 4-shot with your lower third, we can do it for a hot second and switcheroo. We don't have to do this. I know we're doing this on the fly, my friend. So the Keswick 250 side, whereabouts where I live in, for those that are watching, Stephanie, I know you're on that side of town. 250 is not bad.
No.
So you coming down 250, down Pantops to Freebridge, roads are in good shape. It's going to get above 32 degrees today, so we'd imagine it's going to melt even more.
It's going to get worse. That's the problem.
Well, this evening will.
No, when it starts hitting that 32 and melting, it took me an hour to get in on 53, and this is where folks need to be super careful. When it's ice and your tires can grip on it, with the snow mixed into it. But once it starts melting and it gets that little skim of water on top of it, that's when it's really dangerous. So when you start hitting this warming up end of it, because you can't really tell where it is and where it isn't, that's where you got to be super careful.
So you're saying the black ice?
Black ice, yeah. It's going to be when it starts hitting midday, that's actually when it's going to be worse. Because there's on 53, most of it has about an inch and a half of ice on it.
We got the director about to come on set.
Hey.
How does a Californian manage the snow?
I think better because I drive.
I'm from California too.
Yeah, I recognize the fact that I'm not ice competent.
Yeah?
And so I drive super
Judah.
carefully.
Cheers.
I got a car that has all-wheel drive, and I just go really slow. And
Yeah,
let
but
people
that's
cruise around
about
me if
this
they need to
far
go
off
around
the
me.
ground, though.
No, it has air suspension. It raises.
Oh, damn.
So your car is all-wheel drive.
Yes.
It's set up perfectly for the snow.
Yeah, it's all-wheel drive. All 4 wheels steer.
So you're going to be like a rescue man here.
No, let's not go too far. Although
Former president
I
of
co-pilot
Car.
with other folks.
Okay. We should acknowledge the fact that he is now the past president,
Past benevolent dictator.
past benevolent
How
dictator.
does that
Yes.
work for you?
It's easier being the current benevolent dictator.
How's our friend Yonna holding up? This is nothing for her.
This is nothing for her, but you have to. Yonna was born in Beirut, and lived in the Middle East until she was like 8 or 9, and actually despises the cold. Her and the cold that do not get along, but can drive in this stuff really good. So, our director is on set. Thank you for joining us.
We got to look for him to get on the right camera spot here. I know we're doing a lot of stuff on the fly here. J Dubs. Oh, he's got it too. So it looks like you're going to have to slide over a little bit.
So how'd you get in, man?
So tell your story here. People can hear you and they're listening. So Judah lives on Rio.
Set up.
We'll get the audio first.
All right, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
So I got out of the neighborhood fine. No
He lives right off downtown off Rio Road.
Yeah, well,
about 8 minutes from downtown.
Downtown, but yeah, and heading out was fine. I actually went out last night, had no problems. Drove around a little bit, and so this morning it was just there's no problem on the snow. I mean, no problem getting out of the neighborhood, but once I hit that hill, going up past just past what is it?
Melbourne?
Yeah, Melbourne. There's a tree across the road. Somebody had carved a pathway through the area going down, but not the other way. So you have to come into the oncoming traffic and go up the hill. And as I hit that, I just started sliding.
Yeah.
I'm halfway underneath the tree.
Going down or up?
Going up.
Yeah.
There's a car behind me waiting.
Yeah.
There's a car in front of me waiting. And I'm just going, I put it into low gear, trying everything I can. Finally started sliding back like this. And I just cut the wheel a little bit so that the front swung back. Got myself pointed downhill and turned around. Let the other guy go. He goes fine. And then let the cars coming downhill go. And then tried it again. Took it slow. And 5 minutes later, I was up the hill and heading into town.
That's why we call him Jack of all trades.
So how familiar with Route 53 are you? Are you familiar with all the S-turns and all
I'm
that?
very familiar with Route
So the 12 miles from my door to the end of 53 was that the whole way in this morning. It took me about an hour to get in. Literally, just trees left and right down, just enough down, and people were super cool. That's one of the great things about this. People become real helpful to one another, and people would get out of the truck or the vehicles and help other folks and help them get their cars up and down, and so at that end it was kind of fun to be part of on that end of it. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
We love Judah, our director, who now is getting a position in front of the camera quite a bit more. He's doing a hell of a job doing that. Our friend Christopher Eagle watching the program.
Hey, Chris.
Some of our friends at Long and Foster on the show here.
Hey.
Hello and welcome to the show. So gentlemen, tomorrow, do you guys have power?
Yes.
I got power late last night.
Okay, I don't have power. You have power.
Yes.
Your parents, we do not think have power. Most of my neighborhood in Keswick does not have power. As of yesterday at 4 p.m., I went to the Dominion website. Actually, I can tell you exactly how many. Over 33,000 homes did not have power. 33,000. In fact, I'm looking at it right now. 33,000 as of yesterday in Central Virginia did not have power. Homes. These are homes, not people. Homes.
So when I looked yesterday in the middle of it, Albemarle County had 38,000 people out and the city had 17, 24 hours ago.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sure it's much improved, but still a lot of people without power.
So the co-op, because
You have it now?
I got an app.
This is Rappahannock or Central Virginia?
Central Virginia,
Okay.
18,345
Homes.
homes without power, and I don't know if one could ever see it.
I don't think people can see
I
that.
can see that, but it's a lot.
Daniel Pettit watching the program. That's Real Estate 3 in the house. Yeah, we're talking the power now. Mustache Dan Pettit. DP, do you have power? Daniel Pettit, does he live at the lake?
I'll let him describe that, but I believe he owns a home at the lake, but has a home also in Charlottesville, so I'm not really sure.
DP, let us know if you have power, my friend. So you passed the time Reading a book.
Reading the book,
Some
checking in
bourbon?
with people. We checked in with people.
Okay.
We shoveled driveways and sidewalks for the hood. And then later on in the afternoon, just took off and went and cut up trees.
How are you with a chainsaw?
I watch.
Oh, I was going to say you watch.
I watch.
You got the chainsaw shirt
I am
on.
moral support. Yeah, this is my lumberjack shirt.
I like it. You look good.
Are you a Monty Python fan?
I am, actually. And I'm okay.
Well done. I'm a lumberjack.
That's
I'm
funny.
okay.
I drug tree limbs, so let's be fair. I did help a little bit, but I was not the main person.
And Smith, you brought your chainsaw.
I did. Like an idiot, when I left yesterday, I didn't throw my chainsaw or my towing chains and all that stuff in my truck. So when I realized we can't get in, I turned around, went back home, loaded up my chainsaw and my towing chain, and went around the lake and cut spots for people to get through and pulled people out of ditches and just did whatever I could to help other folks.
Yeah, see, I don't drive a car that does that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's no chainsaws, chains, or anything like that. But if you're stuck and I'm close by, you can use me as a Wi-Fi hotspot.
So you know the joke about the guy, you know the joke about the guy who bought the chainsaw from, can I tell a joke?
Oh,
I'll tell
please,
it.
please.
Do you
We'll
never-
see if it's funny or not by the laugh track that's coming here.
So this guy, this was when Sears was around, right?
Sears,
Sears, right?
Sears
So-
Roebuck.
Sears Roebuck, right? We're dating ourselves
A
here.
bit.
So, you know, the thing about Sears, and Judah would know this, right? If you buy something at Sears and you're not happy with it, you bring it back, they return it, no questions asked. So this guy buys a chainsaw, brings it back and says, look, this thing isn't working. I've been working on a tree, 2 inches long, it's not working, yada, yada, yada. And, oh, I'm so sorry. And they give him another chainsaw. And he comes back a couple days later and says, this one isn't working, right? And I can't cut a tree down. So the salesman, let me take a look at this. And he opens it up, make sure there's fuel in it, because the guy put fuel in it and all, hits the on switch, pulls it, and it starts. And the guy goes, hey, what's that noise? That wasn't. He liked it.
Hold on.
He liked it. Boo! No. It's just you and I enjoy it. Maybe one other person.
Is it this result? Is it that, or is it? It's that. It's right there. It's that. It's right there.
I tried.
Justine says we have more snow in Charlottesville than she has in Vermont.
Ooh. Wow.
It's all timing.
More snow in Charlottesville than Vermont. Daniel Pettit says, rent at Lake Monticello, lost power for about 3 hours. We have lived in the Fieldbrook subdivision since 1986.
Got it.
1986 for DP. So, gentlemen,
Don't
A
tell
lot to
another
be-
joke, Smith. Is that what it is?
a lot to be thankful for still, though, right?
Oh yeah.
It is amazing how people pull together in times of stress or disaster, and you're talking about people helping with cars, our neighborhood. There's a lot that goes on in that way, and it's unfortunate that we're only at our best when things are at their worst.
Yeah.
And if we could do that a little more frequently, with a little more regularity, I wonder what kind of community we'd live in.
What do you think about that, Keith?
Well said, sir. Yeah, I mean, it's we're thankful that when stuff like this happens, people step up, right, and help one another. But why can't we do it every day? You know what I'm thankful for?
What's that?
I'm looking at this table, and this is the beginning of the year, and
First Tuesday of the year.
first Tuesday of the year, and I got some of the best buddies that I have sitting at this table. So, man, I'm a lucky guy. I get to sit here and talk to some of my best buddies and do this a few times a week. This is good stuff. So, thank you.
Judah, any thoughts on this? Not to put you on the spot of what you've been grateful for. Any resolutions that you'd like
there
to
you go.
pursue? Any topic you'd like to offer at all?
No resolutions, but I definitely agree that when times are tough, people pull their shit together and
I like that.
and help each other.
Okay, so FCC is now,
That's okay. That's okay.
I am the no,
you are
you
the
go.
FCC.
but it's true. I think it's too often it's easy to get lost in your life, and when things are going well, you just tend to keep going and ignore the things around you. And it's when times get tough that people start to look around and realize that maybe I can do something to help. And you're right. It's too bad that we don't have that mindset more often.
But it's there if you look for it. right?
It's always
It's
there.
there if you look for it. Because when we did our show with all the gift cards we did with the Shenandoah
People
Joe,
gave them back.
people who won them gave them back. And what I did is I took them, walked down the downtown mall, and I just, the first, homeless person or whoever I bumped into felt I needed, I gave them a card, and they were very thankful for
How
it.
did that go?
It was, I like doing that anyway.
Yeah, I know you do.
So it was great. We made a bunch of people's life with $200 worth of gift cards, $25 a pop. And we gave them away to some folks, and it was great. But everybody who won on the show said, give them to somebody else.
Comments coming in. This is from Twitter. Gentlemen, does downtown fully powered? We see you on air. Does all of downtown have power? And this is from Tim 876. Do we know if all downtown has power, Quinton?
I haven't seen any place without power.
Downtown.
Yeah.
And the man lives downtown.
So maybe there's patches. I know there's still a lot of trees down. There's still a lot of lines to be fixed. And the roads were such a mess that they were having a hard time getting snow plows through because trees were across 64. And so there's been some delays in some of the repair work, but it feels like a lot of the power is coming back on and coming back on quickly.
Nelson County doesn't have power because I was talking to Gavin
This is true,
this
too.
morning.
It just put on the feed that Carsbrook does not have power. Much of Keswick does not have power. We're not certain if your parents have power on Southside Charlottesville, right?
I can text them.
We should text them. That's the
Hey, let's check in on Mom and Dad.
5th Street Extended area, right?
Yeah, that's Mosby Mountain.
Okay, Mosby Mountain Valley Farm. He's going to check to see if they have power. It's a wait and see process right now. You have resolutions, Smith? You're a resolutions kind of guy, aren't you?
Yeah, not really. Actually,
Really?
yeah. I mean, look, resolutions are made to be broken, right? So, what I try to do is actually what I wanted to bring up is what would be our one word for 2022. We did this last year. We came up with a word thing, what our one word would be for 2022. And I'm going to start this off because I've been giving this some thought.
Okay.
My word for 2022 is going to be compassion.
Compassion.
That is my word. So maybe that's my resolution. I'm going to try to be more compassionate and more understanding than I currently am.
Mustache Dan Pettit says, I want my Shenandoah Joe's card back that he won. And then he goes, I'm only kidding. DP, you gave it back after answering the trivia question. My one word is going to be, and it's kind of in your ballpark, more empathetic? Is that the right word?
You look like you don't know what it means.
Well,
You look like
I want to be more. It's in the empathy family, but is
Yeah,
it empathetic when you're a person can be more empathetic? Is that accurate?
Yeah, sure.
And empathy
Yeah.
is a word.
Yeah.
So compassion, empathy, it's the same thing. Right?
Yeah, same family. I'd like to be a little bit more empathetic. Sometimes I get the
Being understanding of other people's emotions.
yeah. Sometimes I get the narrow
I think
focus.
sympathy is being logically concerned about somebody.
Yeah.
Empathy is sharing a feeling with them.
There we go. Very well said.
Empathy is an emotional connection when somebody else is going through things.
Quinton Beckham. How about we give him the props over there?
So empathetic is yours?
Yeah. Sometimes I get too razor focused on things.
Yeah.
Goal oriented, and then you're so like 1,000 miles an hour to accomplish that goal that you forget, as Ferris Bueller said, to stop and smell the roses. You know what I'm saying? Ferris Bueller's Day Off, one of the great movies.
Two great movie references so far.
I think you would love the car in Ferris Bueller, right? He's a car man, QB. Was
he
it
is
a
a car
Ferrari,
man.
right?
It was a Ferrari, yeah.
Yeah. That's the next one you need to get.
That's so
QB.
decades ago, though.
That was when you were what? When did that come out?
We don't need to go there.
Okay, we don't need to go there.
Completely unnecessary.
It's one of my favorite movies.
No, I think it's actually necessary, but that's okay.
It's very good. You guys are also the same age, right?
I think I'm a bit older than you, right?
Just a smidge, right?
Are we counting years or mileage? Have we figured that
no,
out yet?
No. If it's
'Cause
mileage,
I think I've got you on mileage.
really.
Yeah.
Really?
We're not going to do that on the show.
Why do you think that? Why don't we have a little
We're not
therapy
going to do
session
that on
there?
the show.
No?
No,
Well,
but
first
I
of
can't
all,
violate the judge's order.
if we're going to have a therapy session, Judah needs to be the therapist, not you.
Okay. Judah, I think his kindness is Dan Pettit's word. Did your parents say if they have power?
They do have power back,
Ooh.
as well as internet, because they're old and don't understand how that works.
Okay.
I was helping them.
Well, come on.
Wait. That's hilarious. He said I have power and my internet also came on. And you're like, Dad, it's the same thing? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yesterday they were saying that they had power but no internet, and I was like, maybe you need to restart the modem.
I think that's exactly what it is.
So I stopped by to see my mother and father. We brought them food and
Yeah.
shoveled them out and shoveled some shut-in neighbors around that. And my mother's like, I don't understand why the Wi-Fi's not working. I want to FaceTime my grandkids. And I go, yeah, Mom, you have no power.
Alex Erpy, hello. Jamie Turner, thanks for all you do.
Yep.
Happy New Year's, everyone. The mayor of Gordonsville, Jamie Turner, watching the program. Quinton Beckham, I saw the wheels turning over there. Your word for 2022.
So this was interesting because, when I became president of CAR, we were talking about that. Allie that works there that does such an amazing job.
Yeah.
She got all of the past presidents together to submit one word that they thought described what it was like to be president for a year. And she used this to develop sort of this word art thing that's now in a coffee cup that I hold. And then as I left, I added a word to it and we moved on. And so the word for last year that I supplied to Allie was influence, because I think how we behave and the things we say and do influence the people around us, and that's an important feature. If you're going to be on a show like this, if you're going to have public stuff, think about what your goal is and how you're trying to influence people and use that
For the good.
to create good. And I think, I've been watching For All Mankind. It's an Apple TV Plus show.
Okay.
It's an alternative history show about the space race, and it's had me really, really stuck in my head. Because when I was a kid, and we're watching the shuttle take off and all this other stuff. See, you want to talk about how old I was?
Hold it, did you say shuttle? Did you say shuttle?
Shuttle.
Yeah.
And
I
the
remember
Soyuz
like the
rockets
Apollo.
and the Apollo missions and all this stuff. I really thought in my teens that by the time I was this age, people would live on the moon,
Sure.
and we'd be stepping on Mars and all this stuff, and the world has changed dramatically. And I wonder, what are people in their teens and 20s right now imagining the world to be in 30 years?
Oh, great question.
And are we using influence to do it? Because I don't believe when we talk about, we've done a really good job the last 24 months of complaining, of talking about everything that's wrong, everybody that disagrees with us and why we're right and they're not, and we're really adept at that, and it's a really natural human trait. Compare that to how people behave on the road in snow and to their neighbors. And I think we have an option of doing something better. And one of the things that stuck out to me as I was watching the show is you may or may not remember, all of you out there, because most of you are probably too young for this, but back in the Cold War, and there's the USSR, and it's the mid-'70s, and nobody really likes each other, and you have these two competing ideologies of the United States and USSR. They arranged a rocket launch where an Apollo spacecraft and a Soyuz spacecraft
remember that.
met, and the commanders of the spacecraft crawled through the little tunnel that they connected on, and it was really complicated getting there, and it was a lot of negotiating, and on national television shook hands. Okay, yes, it's a lot of it is a PR stunt. I get that. But if you fast forward to 2019, in 2019, I think it was Alexei Leonov was the Soviet commander, and Thomas Stafford was the Apollo commander. They had such a connection after going through this together in the midst of all this complication, that simple human connection of working so hard to do something like shake hands, that Leonov was actually the godfather to Thomas Stafford's two sons. And in October of 2019, when Leonov died, Stafford flew and gave the eulogy at his funeral in Russian. And so I think if I had to pick a word, it would have to be connection, because I do think, regardless of the many gulfs that divide us in ideology and how we believe and whatnot, simple human things can connect us in ways that have lasting effect on ourselves and on one another. And so many of the problems we face politically and economically are probably not something large groups of people can solve from a distance. If you need to understand that, watch Facebook when people fight. From a distance, you're probably not going to solve this. But if we could become more connected with the humans around us, whether they agree with us or not, I think we can form relationships and we can form bonds that help bridge that gap and help lead us forward in ways that allow us to fight ideas instead of fighting people.
Man, you made me think of something that I have not thought about in decades. For those who,
The USSR?
yeah, because I lived. You
lived behind the Iron Curtain?
I lived there. I lived behind the Iron Curtain the first half of the '80s. I was attached to the U.S. embassies at that time, and what you're talking about is, just one-on-one connection makes a difference. Everything does not have to be, look, as we're saying this on a Facebook Live thing, reaching many, many people through this, but one-on-one connections, one-on-one handing a gift card to a homeless person or a cup of coffee to a homeless person makes a difference in the world. And I experienced that because, I'm getting chills to think about it. I mean, I was actually coming face to face with people that were trying to kill me. Right? They wanted me dead.
We're not talking about Yonna.
Well, that's besides the point.
Okay.
That was just.
Well, here's a better question.
that was just this morning.
In your family, you have 3 beautiful ladies.
I do.
Which of the 3 beautiful ladies has wanted to kill you the most? Yonna or your 2 dynamic and gorgeous daughters?
I think it would be equal. I think Yonna wins just because she's been
She
around.
has more time.
She has more time.
But your oldest daughter?
Yeah,
She's fiery. She's feisty.
But both of them are.
Yeah?
Both of them are. Look, I am.
You're blessed.
Beyond what I can say. It's
Yonna's watching. Careful.
No. It's true. Yeah.
I know.
It's I'm beyond blessed. Just the fact to look to my left every morning and see her face is an awesome thing. But to go back to this other thing, and I don't want to get too down on it or whatever, but we actually went out of our way to try to communicate with the other side, and it made a difference. I really think it made a difference. But that's the reason my word is compassion. Your word is empathy. Your word is connection.
I'll have to think of a word. It might be expectation.
Expectation.
Ooh, talk about that.
I don't know, something I've thought about in terms of just going into things with expectation, going into things expecting the best, expecting good things.
Do you normally not do that?
Not always. I don't know, but I think that it's a good thing to. I think it's a good stance to take. And
So do you go into things cautiously, expecting it to blow up, or you go in there, I'm going to make this happen?
I always go in with that mentality. Not that it's going to blow up.
No, I know.
No, that it's gonna- I'm gonna make this
that's why
happen.
that's why we're very similar.
Yeah.
I'm more of a problem solver, so it's not so much expecting good things or bad things. It's knowing that there are going to be some kinks to work out.
Sure.
And so.
And you stand tall and you make them work.
Yeah.
I got in a car yesterday. I honestly believed I'm going to make it in until I couldn't make it in, and then I checked the box, said, okay, this is unsafe.
Our biggest strength and occasionally our biggest weakness. That perspective. That's what I found, at least. So a lot of people are offering their words.
Oh, please. That's what I was hoping.
And let
to
us
pick
know
up.
what your words are. The beautiful Yonna Smith.
And why.
What your word for 2022 is and why. The beautiful Yonna Smith, the intelligent, beautiful Yonna Smith. Engage.
Engage. Is
Is
this
her
something
word.
she needs to share with me?
And I think she means
Oh,
engage,
got it,
not
got it.
engage another man.
Got
She's
it,
very happily
got it.
married with you.
Got it.
She loves you dearly.
Got it.
Patty Zeller of Animal Connection. We love you, Patty Zeller. Patty Zeller, you are the best retailista in the Commonwealth. I've said that many times. First off, Patty Zeller says, we give lots of gift cards away at Animal Connection. Givers get. It
Ooh.
brings us a ton of new business. Patty, we should utilize some of those gift cards on the network to drive more awareness and customers to the best store in Central Virginia, Animal Connection at
Well,
Hicks Park.
Patty, I got to come and see you after the show because I got to pick up some food for Forrest. We'll talk about this.
There you go, Patty. She says there's power at Hicks Park, not so much in Belmont. Hogwaller is full on power. And her 2 words are gratitude and accountability. And she said, gentlemen, don't ever discount Ferris Bueller. He's my hero. That's from Patty Zeller. Patty, this is for you, amiga. We love you, Patty. Jeff Leonard is watching. Jeff, are you in the building next door or are you at your house, my friend? He says, fellas, make sure you check out Tim Kaine getting stuck overnight on 95 when they close the interstate.
Ooh.
Tim Kaine, stuck on 95.
Stuck in his car.
Yeah. Did you see they closed 95?
That I 95, I know. They also closed portions of 64 too yesterday.
Yeah, and people were stranded on the side of the road. So we have a, what would you say, the second highest ranking government official in the Commonwealth, second or third, stuck on a major thoroughway in the Commonwealth. I will check that out, Jeff Leonard. I did not see that. Did you guys see that, gentlemen?
I did not see that, but it's nice to know that we're all in the same boat.
I was going to say, that's exactly how I felt.
Because if I'd been behind him and he got airlifted out while I was sitting there in my snowy car,
You would be irritated.
That might have bothered me.
Yeah, you would be irritated.
Might have.
It certainly would irritate me.
I didn't experience it for real, so I don't know for sure.
So remember, connection is your word. Connection is your word.
Oh, let's go back. Yes. Totally.
Empathy,
Would've-
compassion.
Greg Taylor's word is exercise.
Oh.
For too long, I have disregarded my health and my body, and I will prioritize it in 2022. I love the shows that you guys do here. I watch as many as possible. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Greg Taylor, thank you kindly for
Thank
that.
you.
Exercise is a good one.
Exercise, gratitude. So, and engage, we have to ask Yonna why she chose the word engage. That's the first time I've heard that word.
Janet Knight, welcome to the show. Janet, is Rapture open on the downtown mall? We can get a plug for Mike and Cecilia, CC. If Rapture is open, let us know in the feed if Rapture is open on the mall. Did you guys see, can we get a piece of news out there? Because I'd love to pick your brains about this. This happened last week. We talked about it quite in depth on my show. But the UVA Foundation purchased Ivy Square Shopping Center. Did you see that for
I saw that
$20
happened,
million?
Yeah.
What do you guys have a take on that at all? Any perspective that you'd like to offer? $20 million is a drop in the bucket for the foundation. What do we got? Like close to $20 billion in their endowment. So $20 million is nothing for them. What do you make of that purchase? Any take? Either of you two?
What are you looking at me for?
Because you always have something to say.
Oh, but is it worthwhile? That's the key thing. Look,
I'm less interested in their purchasing shopping centers than I am on their commitment to help with housing.
Affordable housing?
well, we can talk about.
And so I had an opportunity to speak to the consultant that they have and be on a group that was talking about their plans for that. And I am sure that they will not move as quickly as anybody wants them to,
Least of all themselves.
least of all themselves. And so long as they are taking steps in that direction, I'm fine.
Okay.
So not to get into the weeds on that, that's going to take a lot longer than they think.
The affordable housing.
Oh, totally.
We're talking a decade plus, most likely.
Well, I'm talking about just to get it to an RFP. Full disclosure, I am on the community engagement team for that, on that end of it. But it's going to take some time. They picked 3 parcels to put it on, right? One is North Fork, the other is, so that's on 29 North. And later in the month, we're going to have Diantha McKeel come on, and forgotten the gentleman's name who just took over Jaunt to talk about public transport back and forth out that way. The second parcel is Fontaine. It's right across from the new firehouse. And then the third one is Stacy Hall across from the drafts.
Ted Reek, the new Jaunt CEO.
Correct, thank you.
He's going to join us on set.
Yes, I have it committed. I can't remember the date, but
Those are big time guests right there.
yeah, they all agreed.
Do you have a take at all on the foundation purchasing Ivy Square Shopping Center?
I do. This might be a bit unpopular, and I might get kicked under the table here from Mr. Beckham.
I'm wearing my snowbird.
Are you really?
It hurts more
The
than my
very
tennis shoes.
unique relationship, these two gentlemen right here, friends, business partners, amigos,
Stop it.
drinking buddies.
Oh, look at that.
Well, can I see? Can you put it on
I'm
set?
impressed.
No,
Do you have-
I'm not going to throw.
Do you have the
This is not a jazz
flexibility,
club
my
and this
friend,
is
to
not
put it
piano.
I can describe it.
Can I see? Do you have the docks on? Is that what it are?
Well,
No, it's just boots for snow.
Okay.
no,
Nice.
they're
Doc
engineer
Martens?
biker boots, man.
They are. Yeah.
They look good.
They are. They're
Good.
engineer biker boots.
Quinton Beckham, you would say, has champagne taste. Would you not? I'd say you
Well,
have
maybe
champagne
not.
taste.
I mean, I bought the shirt at Costco, but
In general, you have champagne taste.
it has a wide variance. It depends on what we're talking about.
So here's my struggle with that.
Okay?
Unfortunately, because of this purchase, they've set now valuation. The foundation tends to do this. If you would somebody take a hard look at what they pay at the market for that particular building,
They overpaid.
They could substantially overpay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the problem,
But you know why they had to do that?
I know why.
Well, you want to let them know why?
I'll let you do that. But my struggle with that is now it's in the people that are in the commercial space trying to help people either buy or sell commercial property. It now kind of sets valuation and it becomes really
It's a
difficult.
comp.
It's a comp and it becomes difficult on that. And they have a history of doing that. And it sets valuation a bit too high. I'll let you share why.
Well, one of the reasons they overpaid was to make the deal happen, to close the deal, because the current owner, well, the former owner, was on the fence about selling.
Yeah.
I think the purchase is intriguing, and Quinton, I'm really curious of your perspective here. I think the purchase is intriguing because I see Ivy, and I mentioned this on my show, I see that Ivy corridor from Foods of All Nations, which is surviving this purchase, at least till their lease is up. The other tenants in Ivy Square Shopping Center will have their leases not renewed. Many of them are going down the road to Hunter Craig's project right next to Bel Air. But I see that Ivy corridor becoming almost a corner, UVA corner 2.0, or like an academic village 2.0, because we're going to have the data science center there. Joffrey Woodruff's a $125 million investment. He's across the street. That's going to open in the Ivy corridor.
Sure.
Hotel and conference center there.
Yep.
The UVA ortho, Bobby Chabra, Dr. Chabra, part of that, already there. So UVA is running out of building space in UVA proper, so they're obviously expanding toward the Boar's Head, and the foundation owns the Boar's Head.
Correct.
So I'm there quite often. You see the sidewalk they're building from the Boar's Head to grounds.
Correct.
So you're going to be able to eventually walk from there to grounds, which is kind of intriguing.
I wish they'd do something with the bike lane at that point, but that's a different thing. Also, on top of that, in the works is an apartment complex next to what's coming on in that particular area. In Ivy, there's an apartment complex.
Yeah,
that is
by St. Anne's Belfield Academy.
By St. Anne's Belfield, that's in the works. It's not made it through the planning commission and so forth and so on, but it's on the books to try to at least attempt to do that. So you could see that area growing a little bit.
What do you think, QB? I know that you got something to say.
I think it's really easy to focus in on a single event and make a lot of assumptions about it.
Okay.
One, the owner didn't want to sell, and it cost extra money to get him to sell.
Yeah.
And that's the way the world works, whether you're UVA with a foundation
Or anybody else.
and that's the world we've been dealing with in housing. And there's lots of things that we like about that, and there's lots of things we don't like about that, and it's just part of the spin of moving forward. I also think we have to remember that a lot of the graciousness that supports us through economic change, a lot of the stability that we enjoy in and around
the university.
Charlottesville, when other places suffer more due to the
Is the
vagaries of the
university.
market, is because the university is a stabilizing force.
100%.
It is completely a stabilizing force, and it makes sense when we are talking about zoning issues. If you take that back philosophically, it makes sense for UVA to grow close to where UVA is and keep the infrastructure and the zoning compatible with one another. And so if this was something they could swing, it's already close to other stuff that they're doing, it'll be easier for them to maintain. That does make sense. Where we have issues that make us all sort of raise our adrenaline a little bit is in where we're going to house people. That's not new, and this particular purchase probably won't change that. So yes, there are things that the university does that has impacts, law of unintended consequences. For everything that happens that you want to happen, two things will happen that you don't. All in the total balance, I don't know that this particular item really changes where I'm focused as somebody who is really interested in home ownership, real estate, and advancing those causes, because that place was never going to become homes for somebody else.
You dabble in commercial, though. You have an interestingly, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention this, I think it is public record, an interesting business that's on the market for sale currently.
We have several.
Yeah.
We have
One of them
several.
downtown. Can we mention it, or do you prefer not to?
I would prefer not to.
Okay.
But yes, those are things that happen in the business world that are really subject to the market of the day. And this is the same thing. This is subject to the market of the day. Yes, it's going to change valuations, but not a whole lot. Probably in the commercial world, you'll see there's when you're not talking about taking a plot of land and turning it into houses, there's a lot more flexibility in how you value commercial, because it's
Very
really
different.
a lot more about
Beauty
how-
is in the
it's
eye of
a
the beholder.
Yeah, it's a lot more about what something costs than
Yeah.
what something worth.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's completely backwards.
Well, you might want to
real estate.
explain that, because there is a huge difference.
We
between-
can have a whole nother show about that.
Okay, then we won't.
You know, when I own a building to build widgets, I make money by building widgets, not on the building. So the building is a cost center for me. So I am way more interested in how much it costs and takes away from my revenue than I am what the building is going to be worth in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to a building where you're using it to rent office space to tenants, similar to the Macklin building.
Or it's your home.
Or
that-
there's not a lot of commercial buildings where it's someone's home.
Well, I think what Quinton was...
From a commercial perspective, and we're not talking about being a landlord, we're talking about being commercial,
Yeah.
buildings are depreciating assets.
Yeah.
They're not as quickly depreciating as our fancy cars that I love to buy, but they're depreciating assets, the opposite of residential property.
And that's a really good way to explain that. And I think from an emotional perspective, commercial is typically a really B2B, business-to-business relationship. It's numbers. In the residential side of it, it's emotional, typically. This is where my children grow up. This is the board that has marked my growth rate of my children on that stuff.
Well, here's the question, and Patty Zeller asked this question. And Scott Bandy, hello and welcome to the show. So we're obviously on a hot topic here with a lot of people asking questions about this right here.
Sure.
So Patty says, Foods of All Nations is an institution. I hope they are making room for their business and their development. And I can answer that. Foods of All Nations is the one tenant in Ivy Square Shopping Center that is staying at least
Until the lease runs out.
At least till the lease runs out. And when the lease runs out, I'm not sure their future there. And I'll leave it at that. But Foods of All Nations is currently staying. All the other tenants in Ivy Square Shopping Center are not staying. Many of them are going down the road to Hunter Craig's new shopping center, which is next to Bel Air Market on Ivy. I got one other piece of information that I want to get out, and then I'm curious of this topic for you gentlemen. How is the Ivy corridor, from a residential standpoint, impacted with UVA developing Ivy, as opposed to having a shopping center of individualized small businesses with various offerings associated with those small businesses? I'm going to ask you that so you can get the wheels turning. The shopping center that's next to Foods of All Nations, the one where Papa John's is, in between the car wash and Ivy Square Shopping Center, there's a very nondescript shopping center there. That is actually kind of almost like an HOA shopping center. The heir of the Roy Wheeler family owns a few units in there. Hunter Craig owns a few units in there. That's where the tennis shop is located, where Tokyo Rose used to be located, where Papa John's is located. Because it's splintered up with various owners, it's having a difficult time finding its next phase of its life. I know for a fact Hunter tried to purchase that shopping center, and that's why he is trying to purchase individual units in that shopping center so it can gain a little bit more control.
So one of the things about commercial, you can do commercial condominiums. That's exactly
That's what this is.
That's what this is.
That's
It's a
what the Macklin
commercial
building is.
condominium.
That's my wheelhouse. So I'm going to get out of your way. You guys are the experts. How does the UVA Foundation's focused development and growth on Ivy Corridor impact residential on the Ivy Corridor? That's a topic that's legitimate.
There isn't that much residential there, period.
There's a lot of residential there. You got the Bel Air neighborhood.
And
You got
Ednam.
Farmington.
And
You got Ednam. You got Ednam Forest.
So when you say Ivy Corridor, though, you're going way further out than what I think of when you say Ivy Corridor.
I would say the Ivy Corridor, and correct me if what you guys think is, if I'm wrong here, from Dooner's Restaurant all the way to Foods of All Nations or Moe's Barbecue. That actually, Dooner's Restaurant to Moe's Barbecue, I would say is the Ivy Corridor.
Yeah, I would consider the Ivy from University up until pretty much 29. That's what I would consider the Ivy corridor.
So you would say from Dooner's Restaurant to where the old Cavalier Inn Hotel was?
No, I would say, at least from my perspective, from where you get onto 29,
That's Emmett there, not 29.
No, maybe we're thinking two different things. If I'm coming down West Main,
Yeah.
right, I cross where they tore down
The Cavalier Hotel.
Cavalier, and from that point up Ivy, all the way up to the to where the Belmar Market is. That I consider that the Ivy.
That's what I
part.
said. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said from Duners.
Well, Duners and Bel Air are like a 5-iron away. Duners and Bel Air are very close to each other.
Oh, then I'm thinking two different things.
Yeah.
Duners is much further up. It's up over.
I'd say Duners from Bel Air is less than a mile.
Okay.
Can you look the distance between Duners Restaurant, J-Dubs, Duners Restaurant, and Bel Air?
So we're talking about Bel Air's the marketplace.
Yeah, where you buy the sandwiches.
I can assure you that's more than a mile. I biked it.
So you would stop the Ivy Quarter at the Bel Air Market?
That's how I look at it, but that doesn't mean that's what it is.
What do you think?
though.
I think
QB?
regardless of where, whether it's 3 miles or 5, concentrating how things operate, is having we talk about form-based zoning a lot too.
Go ahead, you can just Facebook
It's
message.
really easy to it's easy to look at this and predict a lot of awful things happening. I think that there's an advantage, though, to having shopping, grocery, and these small businesses pushed further towards Crozet, in that those folks that live in that area have more options as opposed to always coming here. What happens in that Emmett-Ivy intersection all the way up for a while is still UVA-focused,
I
UVA-centric.
think the question is what is UVA's intentions?
And until we see how that all plays out, everything else is just
Speculation.
It's just speculation. We're a city that's growing, and to grow, things have to change. And I think we have to embrace those changes and see how we can guide them towards the best possible solutions with all the things that we have in mind, and not just try to stop them. And that I'm saying that about zoning and rezoning and getting higher density and more development in and around the city. So I'm including lots of folks in that statement, but until there is more of that pressure, until we accept that other things have to change as well, we're going to be talking the same thing round and round and round over and over and over.
Daniel Pettit and actually, multiple people now are saying Duners Restaurant is in Ivy. I tend to agree with that. To a point of clarification, Keith was right on this. Bel Air
4 miles.
Bel Air Market to Duners is 4.6 miles.
Yeah.
4.6. I said it was under a mile. So you were right there, Keith Smith. I'm intrigued by UVA focusing on the Ivy Quarter.
So the question is what do they intend to do? And we don't know that. And that's what we're
You're
trying
a connected man.
And I'm not connected to this particular project.
Okay.
And that's something that time will help us with as conversation. Who knows? Maybe they may be putting second years there. Who knows? Right? On that end of it. But at the moment, I suspect this is just a buy and hold for them. That's a huge
Little land bank?
I think this is a huge suspicion. On my end, it's the same reason they bought all the property on Jack Brown, right behind the hospital.
Roosevelt Brown?
Yeah, Roosevelt Brown. Thank you. Roosevelt Brown. Jack Brown's where I get the burger and the beer.
Yeah, you love Jack Brown's. Great French fries, crinkle fries.
Yeah, so that they bought that years ago and they've been holding it. So it could be a buy and hold, but we'll report in as we get some more information on that end of it. I just think it's a buy and hold at this point.
Go ahead.
And if UVA has to expand, where else would they expand?
Yeah, they
Where
have
else
to
would they
expand
expand that
Yeah.
would not be worse?
Yeah.
Do we want them to come further down West Main? Into town?
Where are they going to go?
How would they do that? If they're growing and they need to grow, that seems a very logical place.
If I was in the room and I had the cash, right?
It particularly seems
That's where
logical
I would be buying.
because the foundation owns the Boar's Head Resort.
Exactly right.
And it particularly seems logical because Joffrey is doing the $125 million data science center there.
Yeah.
And they also have the new ortho center there.
So
That's why it seems
So I'll
logical.
put the developer hat on.
Please.
Developer-
Scott Bandy will get to your comment. This is a hot topic. People are coming in
Developer
here.
101 is acquire what's around you and control it.
Yeah.
So that's what they're probably doing.
And they're the biggest developer
They are the
in
biggest.
Central Virginia, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Right? Is
Well,
that safe to say?
Close.
You would say Riverbend, too?
Yeah, I think as
Corenstein?
far as liquid cash goes, without a doubt.
Oh, it's UVA, right?
Yeah,
I mean, what's
no.
the endowment,
Yeah.
Keith? Is it close to $20 billion?
It's enough.
It's yeah, he said
It's enough.
They have cash to spend.
It's enough.
What I see the wheels are turning, Smith. You got you're very good in this talk show setting because you like to talk a lot. What do you got? You know he does. You know he does.
What do you think?
It's not restricted to talk shows.
Oh God!
Who invited you anyway?
I love. When
I didn't
these,
even know that I got invited. I just walked.
I love when these two are on the program over here. Justine, we'll get to your comment. Justine's watching in Vermont. Scott Bandy has a comment that he wants.
I want to go
mention
back to the word of the day, but apparently that we're up.
I mean, people like tangible topics.
Yeah.
You know, especially when it comes to the future of the
I'm
town.
trying to pivot and get myself
Yeah,
out
you
of
want
hot
to get
one.
more theoretical, and we're more tangible. Scott Bandy says part of that change is what defines it.
Sure.
Part of that change is what defines it. People
So
are
it's
asking-
interesting, though, since it's the foundation, just a little point of notice, they have to comply with Albemarle County. This is why Albemarle County's comp plan that they're working on is so important. They have to comply with the comp plan. They have to comply with zoning. So whatever they want to do, they you know, there's a big difference between property owned by UVA proper and the foundation. UVA proper is a state organization. So they don't really have to go through the process that the foundation goes. And the foundation has to go through the same process as any other developer does, if that makes sense.
So here's a question. Here's a question that I have for you guys. And this is we may not have this answer. And multiple people are asking this question on the feed. UVA Foundation purchasing Ivy Square Shopping Center. Does that take the tax base out of Albemarle County? The tax base
No.
that Ivy Square Shopping Center was paying?
No.
The foundation is paying taxes.
Of course.
It's a nonprofit. You're 100% certain on
Yeah,
that?
of course. It's just like the land trust is a nonprofit, pays taxes.
Okay, you're 100% certain?
Yeah, sure. Why would it not? Yeah, no, that's part of the reason what I just went through, why UVA.
They're paying taxes on that purchase?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
All somebody has to do is go on to GIS. Go on GIS and check the foundation out.
And remember that our issue is not that we're losing tax base, it's that we're not letting tax base grow.
What does that mean?
If we're worried about vacant businesses, lots going into default, or the foundation sucking up land, that's taking away our tax base. Our issue is not that we've lost this one, let's assume they didn't pay taxes for the sake of argument, which is not true. Let's assume we lost this section in taxes. Our issue as a local government is not that we lost that section. Our issue is that it's so complicated to make new develops that we're not letting our tax base grow in line with our need for schools, infrastructure, and population. So the issue is not who's taking from you, it's
Who's giving?
what we're not doing to allow people that wish to create more developments, more housing,
So what is that called?
better shopping, closer to where you're at so that you don't worry about this. We've created our own issue by stalling development. It's not the foundation coming in.
So that is what we call turning red tape into green tape. So great point there. So
Bill McChesney, hello.
hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
His my New Year's resolution is pronouncing Bill's last name correctly. Bill McChesney.
Chesney.
Good morning and welcome to the program. We appreciate you watching the
You know
show.
what,
And please
Bill's a-
offer perspective on this, Bill.
Bill's an outstanding individual.
You know Bill?
I only know him virtually,
Yeah, through the show. He's been around the block.
but he always, we may not see eye to eye on things, but he always has a kind word to say. Always does.
Ray Cadell has got something to offer. Justine, okay, so this topic is...
Ray, did you
what
get power back?
Folks want us to talk. Ray has a generator, I believe.
Yep, he
But
does.
Ray, let us know if the power is back at your beautiful estate. He says the foundation has bought several small lots rental properties through me over the years. They generally appear to be trying to assemble or gain access to properties they already own.
Yeah.
Which is what you
What
alluded to.
I've just said, yeah.
Yeah.
Developer 101 is to try to start assemblage and bringing parcels around it. And if you have the capital to do it, which UVA does or the foundation does, then that's just a smart business move on that.
Folks are asking our take on a Wawa at the new Hardee's with Corin's outfit Riverbend purchasing the Hardee's on 5th Street, which was recently in the news. Wawa is going to be the tenant that's coming to the old Hardee's site after Corin's outfit Riverbend develops that into a new gas station convenience store.
Perfect location.
Maybe I'll offer some perspective and then get out of
Sure.
your way. You guys are the pros. I used to live in Redfields down 5th Street Extended. And I remember, and before that, I lived at the villas at Southern Ridge. That was the first property I purchased. So I lived on the 5th Street Extended corridor, south side of Charlottesville, for almost 16 years. So, 16, 17 years ago, it's very different than it was now. I remember when I moved into the villas at Southern Ridge at one time, you were kind of hesitant to go out at night off Old Lynchburg Road. Just from a safety standpoint. Now it's completely, you got Winnington, you got Oak Hill, you got a hell of a lot of development down there. The only concern I have, and I'm gonna get out of your way, is the traffic piece. And we saw over the weekend that someone
Yep.
died
Yeah. Mhm.
on 5th Street. Did you guys see that?
We did.
Traffic accident, someone died. That is a dangerous road, 5th Street, with people traveling 50, 60 miles an hour. And not much traffic light to control the speed. So the news is Riverbend Development purchases the Hardys. A lot of people say they overpaid for that. And Wawa is going to be developed in the Hardy space. I'm also concerned about the congestion, especially come in time and come out time around that 5th Street shopping center corridor. All right, I'm out of your way. Anywhere you guys want to go on that topic?
So that's across from the traffic light, right? Across from going into 5th Street.
That's right, across from VEC and the Food Lion Shopping Center.
Correct.
Where 5th Street Station is.
Yeah. So from a business perspective, it's right off of 64, right?
Great for Wawa.
Great for Wawa.
Yeah.
Great decision for them to do that. All those things you're talking about will go through a site plan process with the county. Right, they'll have to do traffic impact analysis. They'll have to go through all this stuff to figure out how to safely get in and out of there. But I can't see where you can add any more traffic lights into that particular area to slow things down. But I think it's
Yeah, also, there's a gas station just across from there.
Yep, and then there's the Tiger Fuel.
So there's Tiger Fuel with
There's three.
with a store.
yes, exactly right.
So there's 3 there already. Do we think Wawa is going to attract people that don't otherwise go there?
I think
What is the magical traffic?
So what
congestion that
you're
Wawa's bringing?
saying it's not going to increase traffic.
In fact, it may actually solve some issues because when you're trying to get into that particular entrance to 5th Street Station,
it's tough, right?
it's often blocked by the line because there's not enough gas pumps for all these old cars still using gasoline. There's
QB's electric. He's got an electric vehicle.
So it's funny. Go ahead, I'll let you
there's
finish.
often lines that go out into that entryway that are blocking traffic and backing it up onto 5th Street. The fatality on 5th Street was further up.
Yeah.
And was probably related to other things. That
It
will
was.
not
It was
change.
further up.
Yeah.
100%.
And I'm thrilled that a building that was vacant with employees that lost jobs is now being repurposed into something that can create more jobs here in the city for people that are accessible and use that land as opposed to it sitting there.
But I can talk a little bit about that because I tried to get, Quinton and I were texting this morning. I was trying to get gas at the Shell station out at the lake. And part of the problem with I think it's Exxon that's across, right? Exxon that's across, is the way it's designed, the way it's built up, right? Isn't the one across from the Hardy and Exxon station?
No, the Exxon is the Tiger Fuel.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but there is one across from it. I'm not certain
So
what it is.
So as I'm coming from downtown, making a left into it, Hardy's on the left.
That's right.
What's the gas station on the right?
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, but whatever that is.
There is one there, though.
It is, as to Quinton's point, the way to get in and out of that is designed poorly.
Oh, 100%.
I had the same problem at the lake, right? People were trying to get gas, and the traffic from the gas station across from the Food Lion went all the way out into Route 53, which is covered with 1.5 inches of ice, by the way. And I was texting my friend Quinton. I said, "Look, it's time for me to buy an EV pickup truck."
And then did Yonna respond to that text?
Actually, Yonna was on it, and she did. What's the emoji where people smack their head? That's what she did.
Is that how she responded?
I think it was specifically because you said an EV Hummer.
Oh,
I
EV
left
Hummer.
that part out.
Yeah, I wasn't going to let you get away with that.
Thank you.
EV
It was
Hunter.
an EV Hummer.
But to Quinton's point, I think and I'm not to put words in your mouth, but some people, I think the traffic is not going to increase markedly, right? I think at the end when the traffic analysis is done, I don't think there's going to be a bunch of people, maybe there's a percentage of it, I may be wrong, but there may be, I don't think there's going to be, oh my God,
You don't think
thousands.
a Wawa off the interstate is going to attract passerbys from the interstate at a greater clip than a local-owned convenience store would? I mean, Wawa has
Well,
But there's already-
following.
That was a Hardee's.
It was a
Which in
Hardee's.
my world is a Carl's Jr.
Yeah,
Where
in
I'm
my
from.
world, it's still a Carl's Jr. Yeah. I mean, remember the Carl's Jr. commercial with the scantily clad, beautiful women eating a burger? And
Family show, guys.
But you know the commercial I'm talking about, right? Go ahead, finish your thought. I didn't mean to interrupt there, QB.
No, I don't think you're going to get extra people that are like, oh, there's a Wawa there.
Really?
I'm going to go there not because of the Wegmans and the Dick's and the Alamo and all of the other shopping that's opened up.
I'm talking more like the interstate passer
Yeah,
buyers.
yeah.
You know, not the folks that are like Charlottesvillians or Central Virginians.
So the interstate passerbyers that
Yeah.
might stop and pay taxes that we collect.
No, I think that's great. We're just talking specifically traffic.
Yeah.
Traffic.
No, I struggle a little bit with this coming from a place that has real traffic, that every time we talk about density, whether it is commercial or residential, there's this sudden outcry of traffic. And I have to tell you guys, every study in the world says that it is sprawl that creates traffic, not density.
For sure.
So
You are-
explain the difference
Sprawl
between that.
is housing developments that's not tied to the densest portion of the epicenter of employment.
And this is true for commercial and industrial as well. We want UVA to build more buildings and buy more land next to UVA and not create something farther away. You want gas
Amen.
stations and other service industries close to where people will already stop, such as a Wegmans or whatever else is in Fifth Street Station. I don't go there very often. You want this sort of concentration. It actually improves your overall traffic flow and experience, and it allows us to create and throw greater resources at individual areas as opposed to trying to spread them out along an entire corridor of 64.
So January 14th, I just checked on my calendar. That's when Diantha and Ted's going to be here. These are great topics to bring up for them to talk about, you know, how this process goes and the impact on it, on that end of it. But I think it may be a little bit increased. I think, Jerry, you're partly right. I think that people,
And that's a passionate following.
Wawa has a
Yeah.
passionate following.
Yeah.
People will go to Wawa just to go to Wawa.
Right. The made-to-order sandwiches and the brand recognition of Wawa.
And if they're on 64 cruising around,
They'll see it on the
on the
exit
si-
sign.
on the
Yeah.
exit sign, people will do that just to go, to a Sheetz or Wawa or whatever it is. I don't understand. I'd love to have been in.
You
Pardon?
love Sheets?
I love Sheetz.
You're a Sheets guy over a Wawa guy?
Yeah.
Yeah?
In part because Wawa sounds like, one of those wah, wah.
Well, that's what I was literally going to. I said, you're a marketing and branding guy. Would you have come up with the name Wawa?
No, I would not have, but to their credit,
It worked.
it's worked.
It's worked.
And it's rabid. It's got a rabid following. It's got a rabid following.
I'm not opposed to Wawas, don't get me wrong.
Have you
but
had their
most of my long
sandwiches? Their sandwiches are fantastic. $5.99
Chiefs
sandwiches?
has also put in a lot of
EV chargers.
Yes,
That's
a lot
why
of
you
high
like Sheetz.
capacity fast chargers for
Yeah,
EVs.
So a lot of comments coming in right
And I'll bet you any amount of money that's what they'll do at the Wawa there too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I would bet you a lot of money
And
that's
then I will go.
Yeah.
that's the future of Mo. So, and I was meaning
And I
to
should
ask
buy
you
that
this.
Hummer, right?
I was thinking about you on the way down from Long Island over the holidays to Charlottesville. What is the charge for charging the EV? Like the cost? How do they make money with it? How much is it?
So most cars come with a 3-year service plan when you buy it. So
Okay.
if you buy a new EV, you get a certain amount of free charging for road trips from a particular service.
Okay.
So Audi's, that's Electrify America.
Okay.
So Audi, VW, Porsche, you're connected to Electrify America stuff. And depending on the price point of your car, that can be 1,000 kilowatt hours for over 4 years. It can be.
How much is 1,000 kilowatt hour? You're talking to a guy that uses gas. I'm a gasoline. Okay, I don't have an electric car. Does that last 4 years? I mean, it obviously depends on how much time you put on the road. But
So I've never used up any of the free services that I've been given, but that's
over the
also,
3-year period.
That's also because I don't own the cars that long.
Okay.
So let's be fair about that. If you were to take a road trip, you would pay more per stop, but less in total than if you were getting gas.
Well,
More per stop.
Explain that.
Yeah. Give me that in a.
Because you stop, the charge per kilowatt hour
Okay.
feels high in comparison to what you pay for a gallon of gas, until you realize that that kilowatt hour gets you
X.
4 times the amount.
The 20 miles per gallon.
My car that is really an EV sports car and designed to be fast, not efficient, is still averaging 72 miles per gallon when you convert what I cost in energy electrically versus.
So that's why they have
that's
that.
what he's saying.
That's
Okay,
why
that
they
was
have
well
that
explained.
conversion.
So
I get it.
Because they have to justify the cost of the EV, and that's how they do it.
And that's only if you're going from a fast charger. If you're going from the house charge, so I wake up every day with 4/5 of a tank, let's call it. I wake up every day with that charging from my house. It's pennies.
And you're at 110, right? Or do you
It's
have the
absolutely
rapid?
pennies. So whereas I used to spend, running around as a real estate agent, I used to spend $250 a month in gas, I'm spending $30 a month in electricity.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Comments coming in for the gentleman here. Ray, I'm a Wawa fan my whole life since growing up in Delaware, and they were just a single dairy operation. I also watched them deliver a check for $1 million at a Children's Hospital of Philadelphia event I was playing. That's Ray Cadell, a Wawa fan right there. This comment is coming in. ACAC is putting in electric chargers in its downtown facility.
Oh, cool.
Which is fantastic. We want UVA to buy properties close to them so students can easily walk and bike to those properties. And DP says, I do think that if someone wants to make a left to go east to Richmond onto 64, it will be a long line on 5th Street. We will have transportations on 5th Street for years. That's from Mustache Dan Pettit. We love when you watch the program, Mustache Dan Pettit. Bill, tell Quinton I drive a Lincoln Mark LT pickup with the 5.0-liter V8.
I don't mind those. I like big trucks.
He also says put a double roundabout in one at 5th Street and one at Willoughby. You know a lot about roundabouts.
I do.
He got the roundabout in at Zion's Crossroads.
No, at the one at 53.
Oh, 53.
And 618.
Okay.
That's 618.
That's the roundabout you did. So this question's come in from Steven. He asked this question: how does this development impact the home values along 5th Street and beyond?
So I would consider it more of a redevelopment, right? So it's already developed, right? It's already a Hardy that's vacant, right? That doesn't have any customers or any tax base or anything. So they're redeveloping it. They're not developing into something new, right? So they're not creating like the Starbucks up the street, that little strip mall up there. That's new to development. I think it'll increase revenue, obviously, because they're going to get tax dollars from it, and they also have meals tax in Albemarle County, so they'll be getting sales tax and meals tax for it. So I don't think it's new development, it's just redevelopment, if that makes any sense. Don't know if I answered that right or
I
not.
thought you answered that. What are your thoughts, QB?
I want to pass.
Yeah? You don't want
Yeah.
to touch on that one?
No.
How come?
Because it's 11:30.
That's not a
Another
reason.
40 minutes.
Do we get passes? I didn't know we get passes.
We can go. You're
know.
saying, would you have passed in the
It's been 2 and a half.
Guests
Hold it,
get
time out.
passes.
Would you have
This is-
passed in the past?
By the way,
Janice
So-
Arve, welcome to the show.
Time out.
So why do you want to buy a Hummer?
There's people watching.
His wife is not going to let him buy a Hummer.
No, she's not. She's not. And I'm Irish, so we'll just leave it at that. But do you know what today is, Jerry?
What is today?
What number show is today?
250. Show 250.
250.
That's amazing.
We've done 250
When
shows.
we talked about this
And we were going to do something special. We did. We brought in Quinton.
250 episodes ago. I will say this, and I'm going to give you some props. You have come so far in
thank
250
you.
episodes.
Thank you.
Your first one to this one, you are a seasoned broadcaster.
Well.
Seasoned. And a seasoned broadcaster forgets about the microphone and the cameras and the lights and just has a conversation with his friends, his guests, and his colleagues. That's what you do.
Well, maybe it's just because my memory's really lousy and I forget the cameras are
not
on
what
and
it
stuff
is.
like that. No, look, this is a big thing, right? And actually, over the weekend, I was mapping out where we were going to be by the end of the year, and we should do something for show 500, right? We really should. We talked about
Show
doing
500, wow.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. That's going to happen.
Well, since we're doing 4 a week, you should mention this. Tell the because it's tomorrow.
For a week?
Yeah, nobody knows about this, to include Yonna, by the way.
It's literally tomorrow.
Yeah. So Scott Morris is
Yonna,
doing.
I'm so sorry. Like, what do you need?
So
I can have liquor delivered to your door.
So Scott Morris is doing his own show tomorrow, and we're going to hang out with him, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking. What did we call it? Wacky? No, What's Up Wednesday.
Okay.
But I don't want to take away from the Scott's thunder for tomorrow. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Scott Bandy, an extreme minimal tight traffic circle might be rough for that maneuver. Unfettered. That's the word.
Unfettered. Yeah,
Free.
yeah. So for that roundabout that we're talking about there, it would have to be huge. Excuse my language. Huge. And I'm sorry. Huge. And there's not enough right-of-way, so it's never going to happen. There's physically not enough right-of-way in that area to do a roundabout on that end of it. So you referred to the project I helped out in Fulvana County. So in order for that to happen, I convinced the property owner to give over to the state 2.5 acres of land. If that 2.5 acres of land wasn't given, that roundabout was never going to happen. So it requires a ton of right-of-way, ton of land space to do that. I do want to. Can I go back to the lake a little bit? Can we change gears a little bit?
Please.
So yesterday and today we were supposed to be talking about new construction at Lake Monticello, and over the Christmas break, I actually ran some 20-year spreadsheets on stuff. So just a little point of notice: year 2001, 175 homes were built. New homes were built in Fulvana County. 202, 177, 203, 147, 204, 144, 205, 129. Then it started dropping. We're only at 119 right now. So in 2021, there's only 119. So there was years there before the great time of unpleasantness where there were hundreds, anywhere between 130 and 175 new construction homes being built year over year. So when people are saying, well, there's this new construction boom going out there was quite a bit of construction going on, and I didn't go beyond. That went from 2001 to 2021. So we'll keep a track on that, on how that's trending, particularly with a new couple of subdivisions one's getting ready to go in and a couple on the books out there. But, that was a substantial jump. Just to put it in perspective, years 2012, 13, and 14, only 31 homes were built per year.
That's a good stat.
Just to put it into perspective.
Oh, that's a very good stat.
And I think I was at the lake over Christmas, and I still see
Lake Monticello?
Yes,
Okay.
I still see open lots. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing some lots with new construction on them that
Yeah.
look like they've either been carved or they've just been sitting there this
Yeah,
whole time.
yeah. So we're pretty much wrapped up. Liberty Homes is pretty much the biggest one out there inside Lake Monticello proper. There's really not that much left. There's a few 50, if that, that are ready to go. But they're buying lots and they're putting homes in the ground. But which is interesting. So in 2021. The median sales price at Lake Monticello, new construction, was $236. 20 years ago, it was $162. Just to put that in perspective a little bit.
There we go. The Tuesday edition, the 250th episode of Real Talk.
250.
That's impressive.
That's over 400 hours of you talking.
And your point is?
How do you figure 400 hours? Oh,
At
because you're
least
saying
400.
90 minutes.
Because you're never on time.
1.5.
Because,
Hold it.
we're always late. We always run over.
We can go. There's no technically on.
Is there an over? I didn't know there was an over. There's an over? There's a limit?
Technically,
There's a limit?
It's technically, that's the beautiful
I
form
didn't-
of the long concept.
I didn't know I could pull a card.
Interestingly, it's contractually a 45-minute show. I don't know if you noticed that, but we have so much fun. We usually 2x that.
Thank you, Mr. Beckham.
We usually 2x that. Are you saying that because look what you've done, QB? You've given the network owners some leverage to raise rates. Is that what you're alluding to over there?
No. I think that you have had a mutually beneficial relationship that is at a status quo.
I think you know what?
Well said.
I will say this. I think it is beneficial for the community. It's beneficial for the community.
Something else to talk about, not today, but for another show. I just got an email.
QB's getting a little antsy, if you can't tell right here.
You're antsy?
A little antsy.
You got to.
I would just leave if I had someplace to go.
Yeah.
It's gonna
I'm just listening.
Just Labor
Absorbing.
Department issued, we are 10.6 million job openings at the end of November. I just got that notice from, which one was this? This is from, I see. Okay, what article does this come from? I could do it. Somebody say something.
What are you looking for?
Wall Street Journal.
Is this national?
Yeah, Wall Street Journal, national.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think that's a topic for us to tackle, the great resignation and the lack of
We'll
jobs.
talk about that tomorrow. Scott Morris, mañana. Excited about that. Judah Wickhauer offered some perspective. You did a hell of a job, J-Dubs. QB, any final thoughts?
No, I'm excited to be back on Friday with Lee.
Yeah, give us a snapshot of Friday's show.
Lee Elberson and I will be back on Friday. I have one other maybe guest, but that's really 50-50. We'll wait and see.
Okay.
And then I will surprise you as I did today.
I like that. I like surprises.
Just talking
I'm not
about
so sure.
Judah doesn't
Not so
like
sure.
I don't like surprises.
Love you, Judah.
He likes bourbon, just so that you know.
He likes Gozas, right? Gozas. This is his beverage of choice.
And we wanted to talk about things that were good that we've learned in the last 2 years that we should carry on with.
Oh,
So that's sort of our hint at a topic.
okay. Lee Elberson, fresh from California on Friday's program. We love the
Oh, he's out in
CEO
California?
playbook. He was out in California. Yeah, I got a video from his cousin and a friend who are viewers of the program with Lee and a bottle of Makers, and it was quite festive and full of spirit, this video that was sent to me at 1:14 a.m. on New Year's Day.
Their time or your time?
My time. I thoroughly very much enjoyed that. Not so much Mrs. Miller and the 3.5-year-old that was sleeping. But Lee, I enjoyed it. Any closing thoughts, Senor Smith?
No, it's just, compassion, gratitude, 250 shows.
That's significant.
Thank you for the kind words, but, man, I just feel it, I'm blessed and an honor to sit here and have folks listen to me. I was literally, just to put a perspective on it, I was literally helping somebody out yesterday, right? And they said, hey, I know you. And they knew us from the show. That's amazing. They had kind things to say, and the impact of what we do.
We were talking to Paul MacArthur in here. You walked in. Paul stopped the conversation that we were having with Jen. And you know what he said to you? Do you remember?
Was this more than 24 hours ago?
Yes, you remember this. He said, hey, that's Keith.
Yeah.
You're famous.
Well, I don't know about that. Infamous, I think, is what he said. Infamous.
I think it's, to Quinton's point, when you put content on social media that's not divisive,
Sure.
and it's engaging and informative, and it's heartfelt, and it's well thought out, and it's backed by effort and research, then people respond accordingly and positively. The next thing that you guys got to focus on, and maybe this is a topic for another show, is how the metaverse is going to impact real estate.
Well, that's...
Are you following this? And I'm hesitant to even bring this up, and Quinton's going to be like, damn you, Jerry. And that's what he's thinking right now.
11:42.
I think you have to have a first show defining the metaverse.
That's true. People are
Then
buying.
you can have a show talking about
Are
it.
you noticing that people are buying homes in the metaverse now for millions of dollars? Have you noticed that? Here's a topic that I want everyone
So
to
you need
consider.
to explain what metaverse is for those.
There will
who
be,
don't.
and you guys heard it right here perhaps first. In fact, I would say 99% of the people hearing this first. This is my business, is trying to see down the road. There will be realtors that get licensed and specialized in metaverse residential and commercial transactions. And they will be commissioned on those transactions.
So,
And that
so what is the metaverse?
the metaverse is an alternate world to interact and to engage and to live upon. Like, you see what we're doing here on social media and digital marketing, the metaverse is going to be amplified. You're going to have a Keith Smith in a metaverse, a Quinton Beckham in a metaverse, a Jerry Miller in the metaverse. And those that are first to market
So this
in
is
the
AI.
metaverse, this is AI is not even a good description of it. It's going to be this, but in the metaverse. It's living and breathing and eating and drinking and building and constructing and driving in the metaverse. And you guys will, just like branding and advertising and being a landlord.
Well,
and
also doing none of those things.
realtors will be doing transactions in the metaverse, commission transactions. We will see.
And you predict this when?
I'd say less than 5 years.
Oh, okay, got it.
I'd say less than 3 years.
Well, our industry.
I mean, Facebook has said it's going completely all in on this.
Yeah.
I mean, it rebranded its company Metaverse.
Yeah.
And if Mark Zuckerberg, who's got billions of dollars at his disposal, goes balls to the wall, Apple is now pivoting to this.
So there's
CNBC is airing content on its TV station in the Metaverse.
So the one thing I know for sure, I've been doing this business since 1987. I know one thing for sure.
Change is inevitable.
Change is inevitable.
Absolutely.
Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. It wasn't too long ago. Real estate agents did this with a book, right? It wasn't that long ago, right? Did it with a book. Opened up a book for listings and opened up a book for all that kind of great stuff. And now,
Could you imagine if someone said that homes would transact without people visiting them in person and strictly in virtual tour settings? Two and a half, 3 years ago, we would have scoffed.
So
scoffed.
I'll add a little perspective to that. So
How many homes did you sell without people stepping foot in and only doing virtual tours in 2021?
a handful, not a lot.
But a handful.
A handful, couple,
Yeah.
maybe 2 to 3, not that much more
2 to
than
3.
that. But to add to that, and just a little bit of
How
shout,
many did you do 4 years ago?
none.
That's my point.
But just a little shout out to the listing that I've got out there for Nassau Street, where we're reselling our first land trust home out there, and this is the first time in 12 years that somebody's reselling them, and
Can you ask me how much it's appreciating?
Excuse me?
Ask me how much that home is appreciating.
Well,
Jerry,
hold on a second. Let me get it right. Hey, Jerry, how much did that house appreciate? Did you know?
Keith, I would say roughly 30 to 35%.
How much is that in dollars?
That's a considerable amount. A little over $100,000.
Well, not quite. Right at $100,000, Jerry. How did you know that, Jerry?
I don't know how I knew that.
That's amazing. But he's getting nervous over here. But
Go ahead.
yeah. So just to put it in perspective, I've been getting 15 to 20 phone calls a day for that home, and it's exciting to be able to go ahead and resell the first one to an affordable housing buyer. So we're looking forward to it. I'll bring a little bit more information when we get it moving forward. But yeah, man, I wanted to point out in 2 years, as Mr. Miller just said, that property went up $100,000 in
That's
value.
amazing. That is absolutely amazing, and certainly a reflection of COVID. All right, Quinton, we're hitting the road, Jack. And Jack with the
My lumberjack.
I'm a lumberjack in Ohio.
It's really soft.
it does looks warm. It's perfect for this kind of day. Quinton Beckham, the former president of CAR, all around nice guy. Keith Smith, all around nice guy. One of the partners of Yes Realty Partners. My name is Jerry. Judah joined us briefly. We love Judah, our director. He is. You've dubbed yourself the jack of all trades. I think that does you a disservice.
And master of many.
Quite more than that to this family. And this is Real Talk, guys, on a Tuesday.
Please look out for the folks that are shut in, that don't have power. Reach out to them, help them out, please.
There you go. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. I Love CVille show in 45 minutes. Hasta luego, everybody.